We now live in a time when relationships are more difficult to start and are harder to keep going than for past generations. Men's and women's expectations of each other are at unprecedented levels, and parents are at a loss as to how to advise us. Yet being in love and being loved are still as vital to humans for good health and survival as they ever were. Men are expected to be soft-hearted and feminine in some situations, and bold and masculine in others. And women are expected to be self-supporting and know how to program a GPS. These things were never part of our ancestors' job specifications. When you understand who we are and where we came from, you can develop strategies to successfully attract and manage the opposite sex. Powerful lessons from the book, Why Men Want Sex and Women Need Love. 1. Men and women have very different agendas when it comes to sex and love, and these are deeply embedded in our ancient past. In basic terms, today's men are turned on by visual images and by the signs of a woman's health, fertility, and youth, whereas women are turned on by the markers of a man's power, status, commitment, and material resources, just as their ancestors were. In fact, nothing much has really changed for hundreds of thousands of years in terms of our sexual urges and drives. This can be an unpopular idea in a politically correct world in which it has become fashionable to say that men and women want the same things in life and have the same motivations, preferences, and urges. But as you read on, you will see that this is simply not true. In fact, deep down, you know it's not. This myth is perpetuated by power seekers such as bureaucrats, church leaders, feminist groups, and other politically motivated individuals. It may be politically correct to say that men and women think the same way and want the same things, but if you have had any experience living with them, working with them, or managing them, you'll know that it isn't true. 2. Ancestral women would have closely examined the attributes of a potential long-term partner because a poor choice could lead to starvation, abuse, or abandonment, and consequently, these are the same base criteria by which 21st century women make their choices. Today's women still don't want to be abused, abandoned, or treated badly. This does not necessarily mean that all women are motivated by the money a man has, but they are certainly first motivated to choose men who display qualities that will lead to resources in the long term, such as intelligence, status, and ambition. It doesn't mean a woman will always end up with a man who possesses these qualities. It means she definitely prefers him. If a man has no resources or lacks ambition, then overall women aren't interested in him, unless they believe he has the capacity to gather resources. So if he's a broke 22-year-old student who is studying to be a brain surgeon, lawyer, or doctor, she'll see him as a good catch. 3. Almost every study in the last 60 years into what men want reaches the same conclusion that painters, poets, and writers have reached over the past 6,000 years. A woman's appearance and body and what she can do with it are more attractive to men than her intelligence or assets. And this is despite the politically correct times we live in. The 21st century man looks for the same immediate things in a woman that his forefathers wanted. Her perceived ability to carry his genes successfully and to nurture him and his offspring. In a short-term mate, he looks for health, youth, and availability. For a long-term partner, however, he prioritizes personality, humor, intelligence, and a nurturing attitude. Unfortunately, in a typical week, an average man is exposed to over 500 images of perfect women in magazines and newspapers, on billboards and television. Most of these images are the result of makeup and technology, like airbrushing, computer artwork, and special lighting effects. Rarely do they show a real person. 4. The main reason men have casual sex is for sexual variety, and they will do it when the risks are low. Men are opportunists and seldom plan casual sex. All studies show that across most cultures, men are twice as likely as women to have casual sex or an affair. The main reason women have casual sex is lack of love, which causes self-esteem issues, to test drive a man for future potential, or for getting something they want. When human sexual motives are examined in the cold, hard light of day, they often contradict the warm, fuzzy images presented to us in romance books, in women's magazines, and on television. Women everywhere are confounded and confused by the ease with which men will have sex with women they hardly know or don't even like. Men should also be aware that women trade sex for benefits and are always on the lookout for a better offer, especially if a man knowingly allows his mating rating to decline. 5. Infidelity is the thing any person in a relationship most fears, but there are almost always warning signals when one partner is unhappy and likely to stray. By talking and communicating your feelings and fears to your partner and keeping in touch with the heart of the relationship, you can build a barrier to keep infidelity out. 6. It takes at least a year and a few good arguments to begin to know who someone really is. Finding a suitable mate is a logical process that needs to be approached in the same way you would approach hiring someone to run your business. Never commit yourself to any person in the early stages of a relationship because you are crazy in love. It's likely to just be your hormones talking. Hormones eventually subside, and when they do, you'll be left looking at the cold, hard facts about whether this person is suitable to live your life with. Doesn't it make more sense to undertake this evaluation before a new relationship gets too far down the track? It's your life, and you are responsible for it. A great myth is, when you're not looking, that's when you'll find true love. This old cliché will definitely prevent you from taking positive action with your love life. So forget it. Write a list of the minimum you'll accept in a partner and stick to it. Don't commit early to anyone, and never settle for second best in your relationships, and don't let anyone put you second. If you feel that a person has what you want to make your life easy and fun, encourage that relationship. If the person doesn't, but it still feels good, stay with it till it wears off, then move on. Never use someone as an interim measure until the right person comes along. That causes more pain than pleasure, prevents you from focusing on what you really want, and is an abuse of the other person. 7. Studies show that in simple terms, the higher a woman's IQ, intelligence quota, the lower her EQ, emotional quota. This means that the brighter she is, the less likely she is to make good choices in love. Professional women, it has now been shown, are more likely to divorce and have affairs and are less likely to have children. The American Journal of Marriage and Family cites several studies that show how the divorce rate rises for women who out-earn their male partners. In fact, women who earn more than their husbands divorce twice as often as those who earn less. It demonstrates that financially successful women are less tolerant and more controlling of less successful men, and that these men have difficulty living with women who are more successful than they are. 8. Most discussion about what we do or don't like about our sex lives usually happens when it's present in the mind. Unfortunately, that's usually immediately before, during, or straight after sex, which are the worst times for sex discussion, as each person is likely to feel vulnerable. Make an appointment away from your home, at the beach, a park, or a coffee lounge, with your partner to discuss your likes and dislikes. An outside location allows each person to remain objective, as sex is unlikely to happen at these locations for most people. As a woman gets older, this situation can be compounded, as when gravity starts to take its toll on her appearance, she needs more support from a man to tell her she is still a sexy, attractive person. If she doesn't receive this support, she may begin to reject his advances. A man needs to understand that as a woman gets older, she may need more reassurance that she is still sexy and attractive to him. She needs to understand that when a man wants sex, he is so fueled with testosterone that he doesn't even notice wrinkles. 9. For most of us, relationships begin by accident. Although an increasing number of people meet through dating agencies and the internet, about half of us bump into potential partners through the course of our work, and the rest meet accidentally at clubs, pubs, bars, discos, barbecues, and on blind dates. Most of us meet our partners by accident, without any planning or clear goal setting, yet we wonder why divorce rates are so high. If you were the HR manager of a company and you were hiring a top-level senior executive, you'd insist on a CV, health report, financial statement, bankruptcy, and credit checks, and you'd want references from previous employers. If the applicant had been in jail or was a mass murderer, you'd want to know, right? So why would you entertain a new relationship with someone you've just met in a club or pub and about whom you know nothing? Well, that's exactly how most of us get started with our partners, by accident. During the first year or so of a new relationship, people work at minimizing their negatives and highlighting their positives. And so for a long time, they don't really find out who that person is. The perfect person for you is the one you have absolutely no doubts that you definitely, positively, absolutely want in your life forever. There's no hurry. Age is no longer a major issue, and there are plenty of people available for you. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, you probably will not see us again. If you have, congratulations, you are growing every day.